This is My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina. What is wrong with us? We are like almost 7 years old.
Every time's like the first time.
Oh my God. Remember back in the day when we wouldn't,
Never done that.
we wouldn't intro ourselves
Just
or the
came
thing,
right in.
and then we would just talk right through and be like, well, we never fucking said the name of the show or who we are. So
Right.
Oh my God.
anybody that's been able to figure us out after all of these years, kudos to you, because we
Jeez.
sure as fuck haven't made it easy.
You know, I do wonder, I do wonder if our voices match our faces.
Oh,
you know how like
yeah.
people who listen
Yeah.
and don't know who is who. I wonder if they would assign our voices to different people.
That is so interesting. And I also think we
Yeah.
sound really, really different.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
the amount of times that we get confused, you know, that kind of thing
Yes.
is really, really interesting.
Somebody
to
thought
me.
that you, Christina, were moving to Hamburg.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's me, Cassie. I've moved to Hamburg. The pink-haired one on the picture.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, someone did reach out and ask us. They were like, "Can you point out who is who on your cover
Yeah.
photo?"
We love
'Cause
that.
We don't know. And I was like, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I've lived with my voice all my life, so I just assume. I just assume you know." Well, I had kind of a cool experience this week. So I thought it would be useful for our listeners because so many people have said that they want to move away from the dating apps, that they want to find ways to connect with people in real life. I think everybody is experiencing, or a lot of people have experienced this kind of like post-pandemic, you know, floating around, not really knowing where they fit in, not really knowing how to like get back out there into the world. And I've definitely felt that way. And it's also a byproduct of getting older, you know, where it's like sometimes people kind of like venture off in different directions and you end up feeling a little isolated or lonely and you want to find ways to connect with people. So Instagram got my ass.
Okay.
They were like, they were like, hey,
They're like, we see
why
you.
don't you check it? You know, you've hit a new level of like isolation when Instagram is like
no.
sending you all these things.
You want to go meet some people?
Yeah, it's like, maybe, do you want to get out of your house? Do you want to?
Oh, dude, meanwhile, TikTok, I know I'm in a bad place when I get like all the fucking tarot readers. I'm like, oh shit. I need to go touch
I make a
some
life
grass.
change. I gotta make a life change. Yeah.
Go touch some grass.
Truly.
Oh, no.
So I got an ad for this app called Timeleft. And this is not an ad. They are not paying us. But they're new to the States. I think they started maybe in England. They started somewhere in Europe. And what they do is like you fill out a questionnaire about yourself, and then it like and you tell them like where you live. And in Los Angeles, it breaks it up into neighborhoods. Thank God.
Oh, yeah,
I was
you
like,
have
please,
to.
No, yeah.
please don't make me drive to Culver City on a Wednesday night. You know.
Geographically undesirable.
Right, right. So, you fill like all of that information out, and then it matches you with like 4 to 5 other people. So my group was 6 people.
Okay.
And so it matches you with strangers. And it says it has like a 96% rate of compatibility with who it's matching you with.
Interesting.
And you know, I signed up for it. I was like, let's do it. What do you have to lose? And I was really nervous about it, not just because I feel like I've lost a lot of my game, and I don't know how to talk to people. I was telling Christina that like a guy hit on me on the street corner the other week, and I shook his hand at the end of it. This is how bad things have gotten. You know what I mean? Like,
you're like, pleasure to meet you, sir.
yeah. It was so.
Here's my business card.
Yeah,
Please
let's
But for real,
circle
Cassie,
back on that.
I'm so serious. 'Cause he asked me what I did for a living, and I told him, and then he's like, "Well, what else do you do?" And like, in hindsight, I'm like, "Oh, he was asking me like for fun. Like, what do you do for fun? Like, do you go hiking? What do you do?" And I started talking to him about my nonprofit. I'm so fucking serious.
Amazing.
Horrifying. So I'm nervous to do this dinner. Because I'm like, I don't know how to people anymore. I've been inside too long. And also, like, I have made a decision not to drink until I just feel better, like in a better headspace. So I haven't had a drink for a month and a half either. And
so you're raw dogging,
dogging.
Socializing?
Oh,
right,
no.
socializing
Honey,
with
this is
strangers.
my nightmare.
I'm like, oh, there's
Yeah.
no padding, right? Like I got nothing.
Yeah.
So I went in though, and to be honest, like it was not awkward at all. Like it didn't feel, I got paired with other, mostly other introverts. There are a couple slightly more quiet people at the table, but you get a couple introverts together and then you're like, we're good. The table's good because they'll keep that shit going. And the app also provides you with a game.
Oh,
so
okay.
So
like
if you really,
Interesting.
which we really didn't need, but ended up playing anyway. But yeah, it's like icebreaker questions that you go around the table and answer. And I think I hit the jackpot with my table because there was another table there and like no shade on them, but they were not having as much fun. I could tell. So yeah, and like we started a group chat right away and it's blowing up and like everybody's like, you want to do this? You want to do that? You want to go? So I'm going to go see Beetlejuice with them next week. Like, so
that's fun.
If you are like looking for connection, other people who are also looking for connection, but you don't want to get on, because for a long time it just felt like the only option was like these dating apps,
right?
And like that's not what everybody's looking for.
It's not really where you're at right now. You just want to meet people. Yeah.
Right. You just want to meet people. I would really recommend it. I thought it was a really good experience.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I actually don't hate that.
I know that we're not getting paid by them and,
Yet.
I might regret this in hindsight, but I don't, I would not find a name like Timeleft and be like, whew.
Right. Same. I felt the same way.
Does this mean I'm going to die?
Oh, yeah.
I found it to be an odd, like it's an odd name. I would have maybe branded it something else if I was on their marketing team.
Maybe it's the translation.
It does sound, it might be the translation.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
I thought that as well because it is.
But time left means like, hey, don't do anything rash. There's still time left. You know what I mean? It's just almost ooh, that's dark. Oh my God.
I think maybe it's supposed to be like, what do you want to do with, the time you have left? Yeah.
Ooh, well, speaking of time you have left, Meryl Streep and Martin Short.
Rumors.
What are we talking about right now? I can't.
Apparently, Meryl Streep has been secretly separated and or divorced from her husband of 45 years, Don Gummer, for like 6 years.
Divorcing, and this has been happening a lot more frequently. I feel like we've been seeing a lot more of this, but divorcing someone after 45 years, that has to be tremendously difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's got to be.
That's probably why it was secret. That's probably why they were like, we don't want to talk about it.
We want privacy.
It's a lot
during this time. Yeah.
And so I don't know if you know, but Meryl Streep was on season 3 of Only Murders in the Building, and she played
I didn't.
a romantic love interest for Martin Short, who has been her friend for years. Well, now they've been spotted out and about, like holding hands. And then there's rumors that there might be a love connection.
I love this. I have to be honest. I love it. I think that pairing is just wacky enough. Like, like it's just a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of it. I'm a huge fan.
What do you think, Cassie? You look very...
I'm torn.
Okay.
I'm torn. Maybe if I had seen the Every Murders and saw them together, I might be like, oh my God, I love this.
I didn't see them.
But
I didn't see that season either.
I just can't
picture it.
I can't picture it.
Okay.
But I'm open-minded, and listen, if they're happy for them.
Yeah.
He seems so always on. And Meryl Streep seems like kind of the opposite of that, like kind of always a bit more
I wonder if they
chill and
balance.
relaxed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe that's what she needs, is somebody who can be just like a little silly with her.
Truly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
seems like he
anything
could.
about her ex-husband, but he did seem a little bit more serious, a little bit more...
Yeah.
And so maybe she's looking for something
what their
a little
signs
looser.
are.
I know. We should dig in.
I think
know what
Meryl
Martin
is
Short's
a
sign.
Cancer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know what Martin Short's sign is.
There was a picture of
know.
the two of them like hanging out, the picture of them holding hands. And I love that Steve Martin was behind them, like third wheeling.
I love it. Meryl Streep is a Cancer. Yeah.
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Why did I know that he was an Aries?
Oh. A lot of emotions in that relationship, I think. Yeah.
It's literally my parents and reverse.
And your parents
but my mom's.
too.
It's
his
mine.
birthday's-
It's mine too.
That's so
it was
wild.
Not a great match.
Wow, they seem to be
Am I?
attracted to
Same.
each other,
Yeah.
though. What's up with that? Aries and Cancer seem
Maybe
to,
it's a rebound for Meryl.
good for her.
Listen.
Get it, girl.
We love it. We love a time left situation.
Yeah, that's right.
It's still time left.
You got time left.
This is wild. Yeah.
There's still
yeah,
time.
June 22nd. So she's a Cancer. So yeah, her birthday is literally like 6 days before my dad's, and then Martin Short's is 1 day after my mom's.
Oh, brilliant.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, if it is
Yeah.
happening, I wish them luck. I think that I'm of the opinion, one of the things that would bother me about my dad would be like him deciding that he was old. You know what I mean? And
my dad does that too. And I hate it.
that.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
My dad's not even old. He's in his 50s.
exactly.
What are you doing?
I just think that
Just giving into it.
you can approach life from a stance of just being like a constant learning and experiencing.
Yes.
And, just because you're of a certain age doesn't mean you're not allowed to fall in love again or learn a new skill or do any of those things.
Yeah.
I always want to,
You
my
got
brain.
time left to go on adventures and meet new people. I have to say, I know people are sick of me talking about Real Housewives, but it has absorbed my life. And I know there's a lot of very valid criticisms to that series. I know that there's a lot of like bad representation, blah, 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 and real criticisms. What I will say is that someone had said once on like a Reddit that I was looking at that the Real Housewives are one of the only like depictions of like older women being like kind of very like they're not giving up on anything.
Vulnerable.
They're out
Right.
there, they're partying,
Yep.
they're like hooking up, sometimes really embarrassingly.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, life doesn't stop just because you're 50 or whatever.
That's
like
right.
and you're still hot and you can still get out there and do whatever. You can still get out there and bang Martin Short if you want to. Go
Hell
for
yeah,
it.
dude. We
I'm
love
happy
that.
for you, girl.
We love it.
You sure can.
Cassie's like, not
Oh,
for
wow.
me.
No.
I mean, you do. You can do you. I ain't going to be for me.
Yeah.
Steve Martin, on the other hand.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to talk, we're going to talk some SNL an alum. Steve Martin always.
Oh, see.
Yes.
Love him.
Does he plays the banjo or the
Yeah.
mandolin? The banjo?
Yes.
Maybe both.
Banjo.
But yeah, he definitely, I know he plays
yeah,
the
he might-
banjo
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like very well. There's a really good 2-part documentary series on him. And I think it's on Apple TV where it's the 2 parts are Steve in the past and Steve like now, and just kind of explaining his career trajectory and like all of that.
What
It's
is
really
his sign?
interesting.
He's so charming. Like I find him to
he
be.
is.
But he's very, from watching this, I learned, and I was like, oh, I can see that now. It's like nobody really knows who he is.
I see that completely. I can see that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he's on when he's on. I bet you he lives a quiet
Very
personal life.
quiet life.
Yeah.
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 I bet he
Yeah.
reads a lot.
Has he ever been married or anything? I don't remember. We
I don't
didn't
think
finish
so.
the.
I don't think so.
Oh, he has been married. He's married currently. Okay. So
Oh, that makes me happy.
he was
Oh.
married for from 1986 to 1994.
Oh,
and,
yes, I remember his wife in the documentary. Now.
and then got remarried in 2007. So yeah,
To a younger.
to a younger
Very
woman.
young, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
she's younger.
Yeah.
And then they had a child together in
Because they have
2012.
kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's actually
kid, I
he
guess.
is actually a Leo.
Interesting.
But I
Oh,
can see that
that's-
though. Like
I see it.
you put out a lot. I bet you he's a Leo with a lot of other placements that aren't fire signs because he can really put it on and be really big and make everybody laugh and be really silly. But
it still has that distance built in. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So should we fuck, marry, kill like old school SNL?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. You have so many
Okay.
people. You have
Jeez.
Adam Sandler. You can go back even further,
Eddie
and then you
Murray.
have like, oh, who'd you say?
Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say Eddie Murphy. Didn't he do
Eddie-
one
Or
season?
that's what I said. Eddie Murphy.
I was like, who's
I
Eddie
was like,
Murray? I don't know
think
that
you
person.
combined it with Bill Murray.
There is Bill Murray.
Bill Murray and Eddie Murphy.
There's
exactly.
Chevy Chase, but we can't do him.
No, we can't.
Oh no, he's garbage.
No.
Yeah.
Dan Ackroyd.
Oh, I do like Dan Aykroyd.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna throw Steve Martin in there. I think we love
That's a great
him.
one.
He's a good one.
Obviously.
I am going.
I'm gonna do Dana Carvey.
Oh, brilliant.
Dana Carvey. Okay. I can't take that. I couldn't take him serious. I can't.
Oh my god, the church lady.
I can't fuck the church lady. I can't do it.
It makes me laugh so hard though every time. I don't know why. It's just so silly. He did. Dana Carvey did an episode of the Smartless podcast that made me fucking laugh so hard. I've listened to it twice. It makes me belly laugh. He does this impression
So funny.
of. Oh God, who even was it? Where he's like talking about Judy Garland. Oh my God, it's so funny. I definitely recommend.
I think I
checking
listened
it
to that
out.
one.
Oh, it's so funny.
Brilliant.
It's
We can't forget
brilliant.
the women too. There's Gilda,
Yeah, Gilda
Radner.
Radner is so
Yeah.
wonderful.
I'm sticking to Dana Carvey, and his birthday is June 2nd. So I think what's that? Gemini.
June.
That tracks.
Yeah. Gemini.
Yeah, I don't know who to pick.
I like that.
I'm going back and forth. I might have to do Dan Aykroyd. I think I do.
That's a good. Yeah.
What's his?
Yeah.
I'll look up his sign.
Okay.
Okay. His
Man, this is gonna be
birthday
tough.
is July 1st.
Ooh, so he's
Jesus.
a Cancer.
So we've got a Cancer, a Gemini, and a Leo.
Woo!
Oh boy.
Okay.
Woo!
I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Wow.
Pretty sure.
Okay,
committed.
go for
I
it.
think I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna marry Dana Carvey.
Wow.
Like it's just the right answer.
You know,
We're gonna have
you
so
love
fucking
a
much fun.
Gemini. Actually,
Oh.
you get along.
I love a Gemini. Dana Carvey has always had a secret place in my heart. So God, I hope we don't come out and find out that he's like fucking awful human being.
Yeah,
but I don't think
you
he
know.
is.
Broad disclaimer: we're talking
That's
about men who were famous in the
every
80s. So
FMK.
Very scary.
Playing with fire.
playing with fire, always. Yeah.
Oh man. And then honestly, only because I really want to be friends with Steve Martin, I'm gonna fuck Dan Ackroyd.
Okay. Cool.
Dude,
Cool. Girl, you act like we had like all like hot
No, we didn't.
I'm gonna
babes up
I'm
for
gonna marry Dan Aykroyd, and in fact, I think he was hot back in the day.
I think he was,
Oh, I do too. I think it was hot back in the day.
He's a type. He's
Also
a type.
incredibly funny.
Yes.
Also incredibly
very
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my
her
sister
wrong.
sign. So could go either way, but yeah, I think out of all of them, I think Dana Carvey would be too silly for me. Steve Martin would be too reserved for me. I love somebody that's emotionally vulnerable and communicative, and I just think that Dan Aykroyd is my best
I agree.
match for a marriage. I feel like
I
he's
agree.
balanced in that way. And then I'm gonna fuck Steve Martin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck Steve
Yeah.
Martin.
I like that.
He's always the dark, secretive, like kind of quiet people that are
Yeah.
do some fun stuff. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Well,
my
I like that we're all doing different stuff because I'm gonna marry Steve Martin. Like,
Okay. I knew you were. I knew it.
Yeah. Like, I like his energy. I like his vibe. I like that there's a little bit of mystery there that you get to like dig into. And like, you know, that's always, you feel so privileged when someone like has kind of a private inner life that they let you in on.
true.
You know, like that always feels so like nice. So, and he just seems considerate and like, but
Yeah.
you know, so I'm gonna marry Steve Martin.
And I'm going to say it. Playing banjo for you in his living room is markedly an improvement over guitar.
It is because it's more rare. You know, I feel like
It's different. It feels different.
It does. It
and
does.
he's like actually legitimately
He's good at it.
incredible
Good.
at
yeah,
it. So
and he tours.
Really good.
Yeah, like
he's not going
I
to try
love
to stop and start Stairway to Heaven like 6 times.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on. I got it.
wait,
Just one second. One second.
Oasis.
I am. They've reunited.
Yeah. We'll see how
Also,
long.
I could double date with Meryl and Martin. Amazing.
Oh, man.
There you
we're gonna
go.
have a great time.
There you go.
and I'm gonna
be friends with
Fuck
them. So
Dan Ackroyd.
There you go.
I'm gonna fuck Dan Aykroyd. Something about it. He seems like he would be a fun date. You know, like I think it would be like, you know, he's gonna be silly. He's gonna make you laugh for sure.
He knows where to get the best Chicago hot dog.
I thought you were gonna say cocaine, but
but also that.
Swear to God, I thought you were going to say cocaine. So I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
I was like, well, that won't help me at all, but for somebody.
No, but I feel like he would take you on this like great date. Like in Chicago, where you just like eating these fucking like messy coney dogs.
You know what
whatever.
it is? It'd be like a Nancy Myers montage. Like the date would be where it's just like, you know, he's doing silly voices.
Finger and get a little schmutz that you got right there.
Yeah. You're going to ride the tram or something.
I hate it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, so I'm going to fuck Dan Aykroyd. I think it'll be silly. It'll be fun. And then, I can be friends with Dana Carvey. I think it's because the first thing, I didn't grow up with him on SNL. And the first thing I was ever really massively exposed to was the church lady. And I simply can't find that sexy in any way. So
he's so funny.
But I would love to be
funny.
Would love to be buddies. Would love to be friends. Yeah.
He did George Bush too.
Oh yes, his George Bush was very funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah, very good.
I love anybody who can do a voice.
A good impression.
I just
a really good impression actually, because I feel like I'm not good at impressions. And when I see someone absolutely nail it, like when I see people do impressions of their friends and nail them, I'm like, that is incredible.
That is incredible because people can do impressions of like famous people, but when you really can nail down someone your friend, I'm terrible at impressions. Obviously, you've heard me, you've heard my accent.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was listening to Case File this morning, and I was like listening to his Australian accent, and I literally thought about the time you tried to do a British accent on this podcast. I thought about it this morning.
Oh,
incredible.
My God.
Christina, you're not alone. Chris can't do it either.
Yeah,
he can't even.
It was like Jamaican.
He's
and I'm
flipping
like,
me off right now. He cannot do an accent.
like Christina was trying to do a British accent and it sounded Jamaican, and I was like, that's the harder accent. I don't understand. I don't know, but it's all good. We all have different gifts.
We do. We walk different paths in life, and mine is not a famous impersonator. But here's a question for you, super quick. So we know Maya Rudolph is going to come for this season to do Kamala. Who do we think they're going to put up for? Oh, he already said no.
He already confessed.
He said no?
He already said. No, he said yes.
I heard he said no.
He committed.
Did he really? Is Steve Martin doing?
Well,
that's
he is
what I heard.
busy.
I heard
He's
committed
he's
to do
shooting
it.
that TV show. Maybe
I mean,
he
he is
doesn't have time.
I'm
I
looking
don't
right
know.
now.
But I mean, he's going to pop it. Who else could do it?
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's got to be.
This is going to get me watching SNL again. I haven't watched in a long time, and I'm like, I will watch for
I'm so excited. I mean, it's only going to be bonus
he turned
stuff,
it down.
right? Like, so it's not every episode. He did.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said he was going to do it.
No.
He's tired.
he's turned it
These
down.
men are all in their 70s. They're like, no.
It's like
So
nothing.
now that's my question. Who do we think could pull off America's Dad, Tim Walz? Dude, did you see his thing about Menards and like the rebate? He has viral TikTok about he did the save big money at Menards, and he's like, but save your receipts and you turn them in, and you got to wait 6 to 8 weeks, but then you get that 11% rebate.
Like absolutely.
I love him.
Tim Walz gives he gives
him.
never passes up a deal energy.
No.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like 100%.
He's a teacher. They can't afford
I
to.
fucking love it. Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to think of who would be great to play him, to impersonate him. I'm trying to think of older
honestly, as soon as I saw him, I thought he looked like Steve Martin.
Right. I thought you could do it, but
I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't really watch right now, so I'm not even sure who's on who could do it.
I know. Me either.
I don't know.
yeah.
They'll bring in
I don't
someone.
think it'll be Kenan Thomas.
No, what if it was? That'd be incredible.
I mean, that would.
Amazing. Actually, amazing.
What about he's too silly, but I'm like, they could put like a Horatio Sands maybe or someone pop in.
Oh my gosh, Horatio Sands.
You need somebody with white hair. Or I guess
give him a
not.
wig. They love a wig on SNL.
Yeah, they love a wig.
A wig and veneers.
I'm kind of excited to see maybe a Jimmy Fallon or somebody dumb like that.
Yeah. I wonder who they'll bring back or Or if they would, I wonder if Dana Carvey could do it, actually, because we were talking about it.
Honestly, Dana can do anything. I'll ask him.
Your husband,
tonight.
Dana, can do anything. Yeah.
My husband, Dana Carvey.
Oh, man. Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with stories?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
And we're back. All right, Cassie, kick us off with stories.
Okay. I got this from a listener who shall remain nameless. I guess this person probably wouldn't mind me saying their name but anyway, the subject line is "My mom is awesome." So I was a little worried. I was like, "Oh, okay. Is this a story?" Says, "Hello, ladies. This is genuinely one of my absolute favorite podcasts, and I'm excited to finally contribute. Keep up the good work. This story is not about me, but about my mom, and I'm sharing with her permission. I hope you ladies appreciate this story as much as I do. Before she met my awesome dad, she dated a man named, we'll call him Richard. He was 24 and she was 17. Despite this,
Side eye.
Well,
yeah,
different times also.
Despite this, her very religious parents loved him due to him being a devout member of their church. And they very much encouraged this pairing. As they started dating, he quickly got more and more controlling. He made snide comments about her clothing choice and brought her high-necked shirts that were way too big as gifts. It's important to the story to know that my mom, from a very young age, had a tiny waist and a majorly large chest. Most shirts were form-fitting and showing cleavage due to this. He constantly had to know where she was, who she was with.
Oh, no
He was
kidding. A
so
guy in
insanely
his mid-20s
jealous.
who wants to date a teenager
And
and he's
her?
controlling? I'm shocked. Shocked.
I know. Gross. Insanely jealous despite her never having given him any reason to be so.
Projection.
She got tired of this. Yeah. She got tired of this behavior very quickly. She was ready to break it off when her parents invited him on a family trip with them.
I
my
swear
God,
to God,
imagine?
Mom and Dad, you can't just do that. You have to ask first.
That's awful.
Not okay.
Also, parents that are too involved in, gosh, almost any way in their kids' love life. It's like, no,
Ugh.
no,
Yeah.
that's weird.
It's so ick.
Yeah.
You have your own life. You had your opportunities to do the thing. Let your child have their opportunities. She's 17, by the way, and you're taking her boyfriend on a trip. My parents would never.
Mine wouldn't either. Well, I mean, they
Never.
might have, but they would have been watching like a hawk, and we would not have been sleeping in the same room. There would have been like real boundaries in place.
Yeah.
Oh no, there were
Mine
never.
would never, just because
Not
they're
even a
like,
little bit.
that's like one more person we have to pay
You
for.
have to pay for them.
Truly.
One more mouth to feed.
Truly.
He's
Nah.
24. He should be feeding his
Is he
own mouth.
paying?
Yeah, exactly.
Is he
You
paying?
can come, and it's this much.
Right, exactly.
Yep. Throughout the trip, Richard continued his comments and told her no girl of his would be wearing form-fitting clothes,
Right.
and she was absolutely not to hang out with anyone of the opposite sex, even going
Am I
so
your
far as
daughter?
to say her way of truly.
Seriously. Okay, Mike
Wait,
Pence.
my parents would be like, mind your fucking business.
Truly.
You're not her dad. Yeah, absolutely not to hang out with anyone from the opposite sex, even going so far to say her way of dress was, quote, sinful and misleading. She had enough.
How is her body misleading? It's her body.
Right.
How?
Yeah. No, it's the
I don't know, Richard, how? Tell us.
Projecting.
Ugh. She had enough. After the trip, while out with friends, she saw just the thing to wear to go and break up with him for good. She went to his house, and right on the front lawn, he immediately started trying to cover her up and telling her this was, quote, immature, but she was having none of that.
I'm sorry.
She immediately broke up with him.
Immature. She's 17. You dumbass. If you want somebody
Honey,
who's more
hi.
mature, date somebody your own fucking age. 7 years is a lot.
At that time.
age.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is like,
Yeah.
get fucked. I hate that. And it's just like, you're actively seeking something and then you're going to criticize the thing that you're actively seeking. Shut up.
Yeah.
Right.
Jesus.
Get a life. She immediately broke up with him and stormed off in her new favorite shirt, head held high, was 2 sizes too small so that it was extra skin tight, and emblazoned across her big chest in big bold letters it said, quote, God's greatest miracle. My mom isn't.
I want that shirt.
Oh my God, I want that shirt
immediately.
so bad.
That's incredible.
God's greatest miracle.
I want shorts with it across the ass though, because I don't really have any titties to
Oh
show
my
off.
God.
My mom is an absolute badass and my personal hero. What a legend.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Agreed.
Beautiful.
Agreed.
I love it. That's incredible.
Amazing. God's greatest miracle.
I need to see a picture of that shirt.
Oh my God. I wanted to
Stat.
have those like 70s
Yes.
block letters
Oh my
on it. Oh my
God.
God.
Yeah.
Is anyone still making that? Can we trademark it? Can we release merch? God's greatest miracle baby tees, please.
Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this. Okay. So this person says, so I meet this girl on a dating app, right? Her name's Emily, and things are going great through texts. We've got some solid banter going, shared a few memes. It's the digital age romance at its finest. I suggest we meet in person, and she's game.
Can we talk about meme compatibility?
Oh.
Because I feel like it's a real thing.
It is.
You know?
It is a dance. It's like, okay, we have to have the same references in
Yes.
order to
To find the same things funny.
correct.
The same kinds of joking.
It's like movie quotes. It's like, do we have the same movies in common? Like if I make a quote and you don't get it,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, got to pick a spot that's fun, casual, and not too loud. My buddy had told me about this new trendy lounge downtown with good drinks and a cool vibe.
Okay.
Perfect, right? Well, little did I know that this trendy lounge was actually a strip club.
Why? Listen, I really need to start keeping a list. I need to start keeping a list of like inappropriate places to take your date that come up way more frequently than you would think.
Right.
Like how many
Yeah.
times do we have to hear a story where some dumb person takes somebody to a strip club on a first date without telling them?
So the night of the date, I'm feeling pretty confident. I pick her up and we head to this lounge. Now, as soon as we walk in, I notice something's off. It's very dimly lit, which I expected, but the ambiance was a little, let's just say, extra. There was a lot of neon, a bit more red lighting than you typically find in a cocktail bar.
Oh no.
And the music was, how do I put this? Aggressively sexy. He's like putting two and two together.
like,
He's like, aggressive.
Feels like a weekend song in here. Yeah, you're like,
It feels like
Oh my God. But hey, maybe this place just has a unique vibe. Who am I to judge? We grab a seat and I'm about to impress her with my knowledge of cocktails when out of nowhere,
Oh, no.
a woman who is wearing significantly less clothing than anyone else in the room appears on stage in front of us and starts doing her thing.
wait, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I think I missed the beginning of this story. She planned where to go?
No, he ended up, he's like, hey, let's meet in person. She's like, bet, that's awesome. And his friend had just told him about
his
this new
friend-
trendy
okay.
lounge downtown.
No, dude. No.
And he's like,
Oh, no.
I'll take her
what
to
a
this
fucking
trendy.
shit.
Oh no!
So he's
it's a
walking.
surprise for them both.
Yeah, he's walking in and he's like, this is aggressively
I
sexy.
take it back.
music.
I take it back. Earlier, I was pinning it on him like he was taking it. He didn't know either. Oh no!
Yeah.
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 So he's sitting down and he's like, okay, the ambiance is a little weird.
Like, can you imagine? And for the poor girl,
No.
like,
Yeah.
no, that is a like you get up
fuck's
and go to
wrong
the
with this
bathroom.
guy?
Yeah. You get up and go to the bathroom and don't come back.
No, because the problem is she gets up and goes to the bathroom and it's the women's changing room too. So you're like,
Yeah.
God.
It takes me a moment to process what's happening. Like my brain is fighting to convince me that this is just some kind of modern art performance. And then it hits me. This
Cardi
is not,
B is playing. You're like, no,
This is not a trendy lounge. This is a fucking strip club.
the amount of like. If a man did this to you, like my side eye would be so strong.
I know.
And I would be like, no matter
You're
how
meeting
much
someone for the
Right.
first time.
And no matter how much they're telling you, like, I didn't know. You're like, did you not know?
I swear to
Did you
God, my
not know?"
friend Brad told me.
Right. Right.
This is called the dollhouse.
That hits.
And it's, So I glance over at Emily, who is now sitting there with her mouth slightly open and what can only be described as a mixture of shock, horror, and the realization that she's on a date with possibly the dumbest man alive. And what do I do? Like any sane person in this situation, I blurt out, "So I guess I should have checked Yelp reviews, huh?" She doesn't even laugh. Not a
she
chuckle.
probably thinks he did this on purpose, and now that he's seeing her reaction, he's trying to like backpedal.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would think.
Yeah. She just stares at me like she's trying to figure out if I'm either a moron or a pervert.
Yes.
I'm desperately trying to figure out how to salvage this when the waitress, also scantily clad, because of course she is, comes over and asks if we'd like anything to drink. And because I'm the king of terrible decisions, I order us both drinks.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh.
I decided
Why
the
not
best way.
leave?
No, I not leave.
Go to
No.
a different bar.
Like
I'm so sorry. I
my
really
friend
didn't know.
told me. So can we start over?
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
We'll laugh about this
That's
later.
the only solution.
You cannot, because
That's
now
the
a drink
only
indicates
solution.
you want to
We're
be.
like
We're
doubling
staying.
down. We're staying. Well, I didn't know it was a strip club, but I'm fine with it. Is
right.
what that says.
Yes. Oh Lord.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So by this point, I'm in full blown panic mode. But for some reason, I think maybe if we just sit here and chat like it's a normal bar, everything will be fine.
What? No, you can't. There is a woman who is taking her clothes off 10 feet from you. You can't.
So what do you like to do
Just
for
chat.
work?
Like while you're
Like,
trying to.
pour some sugar on me.
I know you get a G-string thrown at your face. Like, no, stop it.
Oh my God.
Nobody throws their clothes
right.
out. They got to take those back with them.
Yeah. Emily's trying to make small talk.
Shit's expensive.
Bless her heart, but it's hard to have a conversation when you're actively avoiding eye contact with everything in the room. The dancers, the patrons, the waitstaff, literally everything in my field of vision is a disaster
Why would he put
zone.
himself in this situation? Like,
Leave. What the fuck?
To make matters worse, this guy who clearly spends a lot of time here decides to plop down at our table.
no, no. Oh,
Sir.
it's the worst. We've experienced that before,
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
we've been out at like
Yeah,
a
and
dive
then
bar and
stranger
some rando decides like,
Hey.
oh yeah, finger guns. No,
He's got a beer in one hand, and with the other, he starts giving me unsolicited advice about how to treat a lady in a place
swear
like this.
to God, it is always the sleaziest fucking dudes, because that I feel like has happened before, and it's always like a guy who's a little greasy.
Yeah.
his shirt's unbuttoned just a little too far.
You know what you gotta do is you gotta treat your ladies right. You gotta treat them
I feel like
right.
my heart rate is going up.
Finally, I decide it's time to throw in the towel. I apologize profusely to Emily and suggest we get out of there and go literally anywhere else. She agrees, probably because she fears for her sanity at this point. We leave, and the car ride is the most awkward silence I've ever experienced.
This poor girl.
I
This poor girl.
drop her off at her place, and she gets out of the car so fast, I'm surprised she didn't leave a smoke trail behind her. The cherry on top, the next day, I get a text from her saying, "You seem nice, but I don't think we're looking for the same thing.
Oh.
Best of luck."
No.
You know what? This is on him entirely, because it's
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
First, there were a few missteps made, but also, I mean, when you do get when you get in the car, you have to genuinely, sincerely apologize, explain the situation, say, "I would love to make it up to you. Can we just go sit somewhere quiet and
Here's
talk
what
for
I'm
a little
not-
bit?" Like,
Yeah.
Here's what. I'm not buying it. I just, first of all, your friend told you about this place.
Yeah.
Great.
And have you ever
You had to find the directions to the place.
correct? So you had
Have
to
you
look
ever
it
gone
up.
into maps?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never listen,
didn't see?
I've never in the year of our Lord 2024, I don't go anywhere without Googling it first.
Right.
I Google everything.
Oh my God.
before
I
go.
look,
Especially
I'm
for
looking
a
at the
first
menu.
date.
Oh,
too.
100%.
1,000. I'm like, I'm going to
100%.
pre-decide what I would like to eat.
Yes.
I'm going to get familiar. Let me look at the ambiance so I know, like, you know,
What
if you're
to
going
wear.
someplace super bright, you don't want to wear.
Sure.
It's like
Right, the way I go
guys
on
might not
Instagram,
do all
they
this,
might not
for
do all
sure.
this for sure.
But you're gonna get directions.
I
Yeah.
always get on Instagram and like look at pictures of the place, like of people who've tagged themselves at a place to see what normal people wear to any given restaurant.
Normal people wear.
Well, because like if you look at the ads, they're always like wearing fancy
Yeah.
shit, but like normal people don't always wear that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the vibe? I always do that. So yeah, I'm with you, Cassie.
yeah.
yeah, just like I would do the same thing that she she did. I'm like,
Yeah. I don't.
yeah.
Yeah, no
We seem
thanks.
incompatible.
We're clearly not looking for the same thing.
Right.
All right. Online dating is always a gamble. Sometimes you meet someone who shares your interests, has a great sense of humor, and turns out to be even better in person. And then sometimes you end up on a date and you just know will make for a great story later. This is one of those stories. I met Jake. Jake is italicized, so I'm guessing pseudonym. On Tinder.
Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm. And we hit it off pretty quickly. He was doing a neurology residency at a local clinic, which I found both impressive and slightly intimidating. But what really drew me to him was our shared love of comedy. We spent days exchanging jokes, discussing our favorite stand-up specials, and quoting punchlines back and forth. It was all fun and games, and I was genuinely excited to meet him in person. We decided to keep it low-key and agreed that he'd come over to my place to watch a comedy special. He suggested Dave Chappelle. I'm side-eyeing that a little bit. He suggested a Dave Chappelle special, which I was totally on board with. I imagined an evening full of laughs, witty banter, and maybe, if things went well, a little more. Little did I know I was about to embark on one of the strangest dates of my life.
Ooh, and it's in your house.
It's in your
too.
house.
Oof.
Things started off odd. Jake arrived, and within the first 5 minutes of the Chappelle special, he paused the TV and asked, "Did you understand that joke?"
Ooh. Oh.
No, we didn't. No.
I laughed awkwardly, thinking it was a one-off. But no, every few minutes, he'd pause again, turning to me with a concerned look and ask, "Do you get that one?"
I am a
Can you
trigger.
imagine? Can you imagine? I wasn't sure if he was testing my comedy IQ or if he genuinely believed Dave Chappelle was too complex for me. Either way, should have seen the red flag waving frantically in my face, but I didn't. I shrugged it off, determined to salvage the evening. We eventually moved on to casual conversation, and because he was in the medical field, he naturally started asking me about my health. Specifically, he asked about my seizure history. It felt a little weird. Who brings up epilepsy on a first date? But I figured he was just being curious.
Wait, does she have epilepsy?
I guess so. I guess she must, right?
Yeah. Or
It'd be
that'd
even
a
weirder if,
even
like,
weirder
He's
than
just
if
like,
she didn't.
How many
yeah.
seizures do you get? What?
What? How'd you know?
So I shared a bit. Then he did something that, looking back, should have been the final nail in the coffin. He got up, wandered into my bathroom, and started looking through my medicine cabinet.
Get the fuck
No.
out.
I wasn't
No.
even sure how to react as he emerged, holding a bottle of my medication, and began advising me on what I should be taking.
I do have to say that Eric confessed to me once.
He
when
looked through your medicine
he,
cabinet.
He was like, and he saw all the Gas X, and he was like, okay.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. This girl's chill.
this bloated bitch,
Yeah.
she's fine.
I mean, listen, I think we'd all be like, I've definitely done that before. I've opened somebody's medicine cabinet before.
Yeah?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, have you ever seen those TikToks with women that are filming like in their date's apartment? They're like, "Tell me if I'm good to go," and they like find like really good skincare products.
And they're like, oh, good.
yeah, well, or they're like,
Or
does
another
this
woman
man
is
has
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else
it's
is
one or the
cooking.
other.
Someone's cooking here.
Just don't have the balls to do that.
I've done it before. I don't make a
I'd be
habit
so
of it.
afraid to get caught.
No, I mean,
I'd be so afraid to get
listen,
caught.
I will say it's typically when I've been a little tipsy where I'm like, I wonder
What you got in here?
You accidentally open it and like all the shit falls out. What are you doing in there? Nothing.
Don't worry about it.
Nothing. It's fine. I'm fine. Oh my god.
Okay, so
I'm sweating, you guys.
He comes out with a bottle of her medication and begins advising me on what I should be taking. Seriously, who does that? But for some reason, probably because I was clinging to the idea that this date could somehow be redeemed, I let it slide. The night continued to spiral into absurdity when Jake asked if he could show me some magic tricks.
Oh, Jesus.
I told him I didn't have a deck of cards.
This is my nightmare.
Hoping that it would be the end of it. But no, he promptly left my apartment to go buy some. That's when you put the
That's
deadlock on. Deadlock.
Doc,
No.
all the lights off.
All lights off.
I'm tie-tie.
Nobody home.
I sat there half hoping he'd ghost me, but nope, he came back with a fresh deck of cards and proceeded to show me the most mediocre magic
I have
tricks
so many questions.
I've ever seen.
I have so many questions. I'm assuming this date happened in the evening. Like, where do you go on a whim to buy a fucking deck
CVS.
of cards?
You can go anywhere.
A CVS,
Anywhere.
yeah.
CVS, gas station. Gas station will have cards.
What the fuck?
I mean, it shows me the most mediocre magic tricks I've ever seen. I mean, I could see the card up his sleeve, literally.
Oh my God.
So you're not even good at up close magic. You're not even good at it.
Oh my God.
By this point, I was more entertained by the ridiculousness of the situation than by anything Jake was doing intentionally. After the lackluster magic show, Jake suggested we cuddle in bed.
I
would
God.
not. I just... okay, she said
I literally could see my vagina lips literally going
closing
inside
in on themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like a tight. Yeah.
They ziplock together.
Yeah, it gives you that gives you that Ziploc bag feeling. Oh my God.
I figured, why not? So many reasons why not. So many. It couldn't get any weirder, right?
Oh God.
Oh, how wrong I
Yes.
was. We ended up hooking up, but it was strange, to say the least. Jake inserted himself and then just didn't move for 5 solid minutes.
Oh,
That's so long.
No.
That's way too long.
That's too long.
I'm like,
That's too long.
Now I'm sweaty. Someone
5
literally
minutes.
just staying there.
Just staying there. I'm not sure if he thought this was supposed to be some kind of tantric experience or if he was just frozen in awkwardness, but I have never experienced a more uncomfortable 5 minutes in my life. I actually started counting the seconds in my head, just wanting it to be over.
Oh.
Finally,
What is
mercifully,
happening?
he pulled away and asked with all sincerity, "Did I do good?"
No.
Is it your first time?
Sweetheart, you're in medical school.
Did I do good? I just stared at him, utterly speechless. He then got up, dressed, and
You didn't do anything.
and before leaving, delivered one final piece of mansplaining. Don't forget to pee or you'll get a UTI.
Good advice. Good advice.
Good advice, Jake.
Good advice, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Is actually. Oh my God.
You leave a sexual
Wow.
encounter where you just inserted yourself, didn't move for 5 minutes, pulled out, and then that's what you say is like, as you leave.
Wow.
So, okay.
What is he, Mormon?
Did he come?
How? I don't know. I didn't see Jake again after that. It was only later when I recounted the bizarre experience to a friend that she burst out laughing and explained that Jake was likely Mormon practicing something called soaking.
Yep.
If you haven't heard of it, I'll spare you the details. We've talked about that on this podcast before. But suffice to say, it involves a lot of not moving. And suddenly, the world's most awkward 5 minutes made a lot more sense. So there you have it. The night I learned about soaking and the importance of noticing red flags before you're 5 minutes deep in one of the strangest hookups of your life. If nothing else,
my
at
God.
least it makes a great story.
That literally gives me like Buffalo Bill vibes, honestly. If
Did
someone
I
was,
do
like,
good?
Not moving
No,
and
no,
you're
no,
just
no.
laying there.
Look,
oh my Lord.
My awkwardness could never. I
Yeah.
would pull away in the within 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like 20 seconds and you haven't moved.
What are we doing?
Ooh,
5 minutes?
That's so weird.
I also need to know what position they
Do
were
you
in.
have to be on top or can I?
Yeah, what position
we move?
were they in? Because I'm just like, if he was on top, he's just
He's clearly
planking?
on top
He's,
because
or it was his
It had to
whole
have been,
body
like-
weight on top of her.
Or was it like doggy style?
or from behind? That's what I'm thinking. Like, right?
Where you're just like,
you just can't move.
But why wouldn't you? I would be moving.
That's
then.
what I'm thinking. I'm just like,
I'm like, did you
Yeah,
not-
he had to be on top.
just crushing her.
I hate
No,
this.
I-
Like
hate it.
like that scene in Crucible, just more weight.
I didn't have to bring Winona Ryder into this. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
cannot.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with the Tainted
Yeah.
Love?
I think we should.
Sounds good. And we're back, and I have the Tainted Love for us today. I got a lot of information. Actually, I found this story because I was like, I kind of want to do like a recently solved or something like that. so I was looking through a bunch of stuff and I found this story and I was like, oh, it sounded somewhat familiar. Dateline did do an episode about it because I did find it after the fact. I was like, oh, okay. There was a Dateline about this. This story is about Brad McGarry. Brad McGarry, unlike J.D. Vance, grew up in the Appalachian area of Ohio, Bel Air, Ohio, near Wheeling, West Virginia.
Yep.
This is along the river where Ohio meets West Virginia. It's just near Wheeling, West Virginia. Bel Air, Ohio, very small, but he was actually born in October of 1973 in a really small town called Louisville, Ohio. It's a very small rural town. He grew up with his sister and his single mom. Brad was gay in a town of 200 people.
Yeah.
But he was loud and proud. And he originally followed his passion for, becoming a hairdresser and, found himself doing hair. He was really loving his career, but he really wasn't making the money that he was hoping to make in the industry. So he followed the money to the coal mines. Brad?
I remember this story. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Brad is a strong personality and wants to prove that being gay doesn't mean not being manly. And so he was like, I'm ready to take on this career as
I love people, but I so
coal miner.
respect people who just feel like it's a certain personality type. I feel like you're born with it, that you're just like, I am who I am and I don't care. Because in a town
Non-apologetic.
in a town of 200 people, in like an Appalachian town of 200
in
people,
Ohio in like the 90s at this time.
that would be so I feel like a lot of people would have the inclination to hide, and so I think it takes a really brave, strong person to not do that.
Yeah. I think this is like early 2000s, mid 2000s.
at this
What
stage.
a, what
is
a
happening.
fun
Even still.
best friend
Still.
he would be. People like that that are true to themselves.
They pull it out of you.
Are
Yes.
the best people to
And
be
they
around.
gas you up.
Yeah.
That's the best.
And you know what? The people and everything I saw, everything I read were absolutely just like that. They were like, he brought the
Was
best
this
out
a
of people.
case file?
He was.
Is that how we both know
I
it?
think so.
I think it
I think
was.
it was. I think it was.
yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
It was a Dateline, like I said, but I think it was like a year ago or something. I found it after, like I said, I'd done my research. But Brad in the coal mines meets this guy, David. He, at this time, is working his way up into the field. David was somewhat new. He became a bit of a mentor for the newlywed who just started in the coal mines. Brad and David just mesh. They're just like friends instantly. And he just becomes like part of the family. The kids call him Uncle Brad. He's like a huge major part of their lives. So when Sherry and David were returning a weed whacker to the house, Brad's house, it was a very common occurrence. This is no big deal. They go over to David's house all the time. They go to Brad's house all the time. Sherry and David are there. They brought their daughter with them. They get there and they realize something really bizarre. David's door had been left slightly ajar, but he wasn't answering his phone. So, of course, they're yelling in the rooms like, hey, are you home? Brad, are you home? They're thinking he's going to be expecting them, right? So they went inside and can't find anything, but they do realize the house is a bit of a mess. And so David's like, I'm going to go take a look around and see what I find.
Do you guys realize how much true crime has fucked me up in that, like, if I ever go over to one of your houses and I can't find you and it's
the
like
doors
a little messy,
open?
the way my brain will go straight to like
murder.
Yeah. Immediately. Yeah. That's so
if you come over to my
provoking.
house and it's fucked up.
Oh, I'm like,
I
and you're
know
not
for
there
sure.
and I can't find you. Yeah. Something's wrong.
Nah,
Yeah. Yes.
Wrong.
Yeah.
real wrong. They went inside. David goes downstairs. He finds that Brad is on the basement floor. He's clearly been shot. So they're not exactly clear what's happening. Brad, this is all happens May 2017. Sherry Kenny calls 911 screaming. She's like, our friend is dead. This is my husband's best friend. He's dead.
I heard her
Brad
911
McGarry.
call on whatever it is I listen to. And it is, because man,
sad.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's sad. And so, police get there. Sherry explains that her husband, David, is his best friend. When they show too the video cam footage of like the police officer talking to the Brad and Sherry. And, of course, at this time they had sent their daughter away. She's 13 years old and just found her uncle Brad, dead in a basement. It's all fucking awful. Sherry is like completely upset, but Brad is broken. This man is, David, sobbing. He's sobbing. He's just like, this is my best friend. I don't understand. He's like, I just don't. And they're both like, I don't know. He's just really, really upset. And they're like, we totally understand. This is, awful. Obviously, this is awful. You guys go home. Get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow. Brad's like, they're trying to be helpful, but also they're in shock. And they basically, all they really got from them is like, who could do this is like, they're just like, I don't know. Sherry's like, I don't know. He dated some guy named Scotty. I don't know his last name, but it had cooled off. I don't really even think they weren't dating at the time. Again, scene's a mess. Things are ransacked. They're kind of thinking, well, maybe he came home, interrupted a robbery, but nothing specific is really missing. David's like, I don't know who did this, but whoever did this, I want you to find them. This is my best friend. He is so upset. So they go home. Town is reeling. This is Bel Air, Ohio. So this is like a town of like around 4,000 people. It's small.
Yeah.
It's a small town.
That's around the size of Fraser Park.
Oh, yeah.
By the way. So, size.
It's small.
Yeah.
So, imagine somebody gets murdered in your
Everybody
small town.
knows,
Yeah.
Everybody knows. I lived
Everybody
in a small
knows.
town of about 3,000.
Dude,
and it is...
The dump was closed yesterday because somebody died at the dump. The way that our town was, sorry.
I was like laughing, and then you said somebody died.
I don't.
Jesus.
The Facebook group is reeling. First of all, I was like, why are there like 6 posts about the dump being closed today? Because that's like, its own thing. I'm like, okay, we know the dump is closed, but then the drama came out that somebody died at the dump.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. Like word travels fast in a small town because nothing ever fucking happens.
Right. And if I remember correctly too, like Brad was very liked. And even though he was gay and working in a coal mine, which is typically considered a very hetero masculine job.
Bro job.
Everybody, he owned who he was and everybody really liked and respected him. So that would be, it's tough. Yeah. When you're liked and you live in a small town, like people rally for you.
Well, and that, and of course too, the people, like I said, the town, like you say, town's reeling. His friends are like, who the fuck would do this? This isn't one of the nicest human beings. People can't really understand what the motive would be. One of his friends does say, he'd have been having problems at his job, and she kind of said, just kind of with everybody, it seemed like he had moved from like one position to another position within the company, and it came with a little bit of drama on its own. I don't think it was like necessarily anti-gay stuff. And I think that too, like the officer was like, we asked around because, drama at a job, was it because he was gay? Was it because he was openly, it's a very Christian town too. So was it like were people in conflict about that or something? They had an ex-officer who worked at the mines, and he was like, no, everybody literally loved Brad. Like he even would joke with the guys about, ooh, you look good. Those jeans are nice, kind of, but not in a harassing way, but like in a fun loving, he's kind of everybody's friend way. So it seems like kind of the drama he was having was more like, they won't have me working extra hours kind of shit,
Yeah,
not necessarily
job stuff. Job gripes.
Job stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Job gripes. So they're just like, okay, it doesn't seem like this is mine related or town related or hate related. So is this a crime of hate or is it a crime of passion? And so once again, Scotty's name came up from another friend. This friend happened to know Scotty's last name. So police arrived to interview Scotty at his parents' house. And it turns out Scotty actually hasn't been around for about a month because he's been in jail in West Virginia. Nothing related to any of that. And he wasn't really possible to be a suspect himself, but who knows? Maybe he hired someone. Maybe he'd been very upset, about this relationship ending. Maybe he hired someone to kill him, right? So they do an interview with him at the prison. He says the relationship was brief, but he was upset, but he was extremely upset about the news of Brad's passing. And the police, honestly, it was so funny because they're like, the police really believed that he was upset. So whatever he did in the interview made them feel like he didn't know. Like they were telling him right
I imagine
then.
you get a vibe, although I guess this is a small police department, so maybe they don't see a lot of it. But people who do see a lot of it, I bet you can tell when someone is being for real and when someone's faking it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'm always worried about what my reaction would be to news. I feel like I would absolutely make a stupid joke, or I don't know. I feel like I would do something stupid.
I'm one of those people who would fail a polygraph just because I'm anxious.
Yes.
Do you feel that way? I feel like my heart rate's going to do weird shit and they're going to be like, oh, you're lying. And I'm like, I swear I'm not lying.
I'm just really scared to be in a police fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, there's no way I would ever agree to a polygraph. And also I would like to
over my lawyer's dead body. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Autopsy now is coming back, so they're starting to get some more details and information about the actual death. Autopsy confirmed that he was shot twice in the back of the head. So the police now are like, obviously, this is not a suicide. Right? Mm-hmm. It's obviously a murder. It's in the back of the head. So this is an issue. Police think that this was likely an ambush killing, someone close enough that he felt comfortable to turn his back to. I
hate that second week in a row because my story was also that there is just something so. Not only is it someone sinister. So sinister, assuming that it's someone that the person is comfortable with, and also just attacking someone from behind is just so
ugh. Brutal. Police, like I said, now knowing that it's not Scotty, they take a deeper look at the workplace again with the issues. Mine has no reports, and of course, beyond their close friend, they did research whether there was any reports or incidents. Nothing. They are literally starting to come up against the wall. There's 4,000 people in this town. Anybody could have done it at this point, right? Skylar is Brad's cousin, and she comes in with a new information that he had been with him, some other cousins, and a family for a family wedding. He had stayed over the night in the town where they were, and he had said to them oh, I have to leave early because basically he's going to go meet with this guy named DJ. Apparently there's a family joke amongst the other cousins that the one cousin probably who has kids would always say, oh, we're going to go take a nap. And quote, nap meant that they were going to definitely have the sex. And and so he was jokingly saying I'm going to go meet up with DJ and take a nap.
Nap time with DJ.
It's nap time. Yeah, exactly. So then, immediately the police were like, oh, on the Sunday that he passed away is what you're saying, is when he had this meeting with DJ. And she's like, yeah, apparently he had been seeing this man for quite some years. And she says that she did a little digging herself, and DJ seemed to be a guy called David Kenny. And they're like, the police interview, when they show the video, he literally, it was like a cartoon double take. He's like, huh?
Yeah.
Totally. He's like, I'm sorry, did you say David Kenny? The person who literally was at his house and found him? That's really interesting. So at this point, they're like, we need to bring in David, speak to him, talk to him away from Sherry because, we interviewed them together. So maybe maybe he has more to share, but, didn't want to say something in front of his wife. Whatever the case may be, we need to see them apart. So the other thing is too, is that, did Sherry know about this relationship? Maybe she knew, and maybe she did it and he didn't know. So they need to interview the both of them separately. So they bring in David and interview him, and they confirm that on David's phone, they corroborate like the story that Skylar told them, which is that he is DJ. His nickname is DJ. Amongst his friends, he's David Jr. And so, friends and family call him DJ. He also says, yeah, we are very close.
Nap time close?
Yeah.
They're like, so like how close? And they're like, we're really good friends. He tried some stuff on me before, is what he would say. And he's really kind of playing it coy, playing it off. And meantime, they've taken David's phone per his own, like, sure, sounds good. Yeah, take a look. I have nothing to hide except everything. Like, do you think police are fucking stupid that they can't see all these fucking texts that you guys wrote to each other? And it becomes very clear very quickly that their relationship was much more than just friends, that they were definitely lovers. Also, too, like, this is like a secret romance that's been going on for who knows how long. So he says his wife doesn't know, and that's why, of course, they were keeping it secret. He tries to really, like I said, play it casual, no big deal. They're like, how deep is this relationship? David was inquiring more and more.
I'm sorry, you can't play it cool about this kind of thing. Like, this is, not only are you it's never chill when it's like you're having an affair, first of all. And like, you're married and you're having an affair. Somebody's dead. Yeah. And also you are married to a woman. You have this, forward-facing life as this heterosexual family man, and you are having an affair with a gay man. There is nothing in this small town in Ohio. There is nothing chill about any of this. Right. Like, you can't just be like, oh, it was no big deal.
Total cash.
Like,
by chill, I mean he's downplaying it.
Right.
So
but
to be fair, it's not like he's.
But the cops,
he's not acting chill.
Are gonna see that.
Crying.
You know what I mean? Like, the cops are gonna, like, you can't, like, stop.
Yeah. And so one of his friends was interviewed on the thing that I watched, and Brad had told his friend David was inquiring more and more about like gay relationships, what gay relationships look like, what does gay sex look like, like how does that work, et cetera, et cetera. All in all said, they fell into a more serious relationship. They definitely were lovers. And Brad at this point is slowly falling for him more than just in a casual hookup kind of way. David, of course, is worried his wife is going to find out. Police try to dive deeper into the day's events. David and Sherry had gone to eat. They went back out to check, and then he had dropped her off and went out to check on some trailers, to go look on buying some trailers. He said that the police are like, okay, except that your phone literally shows that you were at Brad's house at the time when we think that he was murdered. So now his story changes. Now he says he was at Brad's house. He had pulled up to the house
to leave out.
He was at Brad's house. He pulled up, and then he saw that Brad had showed up with another man in his car, and that he heard them getting into an argument, and that other man had shot Brad.
You don't think that
too
this
afraid to say
information would have been useful sooner?
This fucking idiot.
Police are like, okay, except that we're not buying that story. So he finally tells police that Brad was telling him he needs to leave his wife, that they got into an argument, and that Brad had a gun, and that David had taken it from him and shot him in self-defense. Police,
not in the back of the head. No, you didn't.
Exactly.
Not in the back of the head.
Except you shot him behind him. Yeah, I mean, like, in self-defense, if he was coming at you, you would have shot him straight in the head.
Yep.
But you were shot him twice in the back of the head. That doesn't math up.
I hate when
So
they
now
do
the
that.
police are like,
it's like, not only did you take their life, but now you're trying to like
besmirch them
Yeah.
in some way. Yeah.
that's 3 stories now that he's told.
Yeah.
That have like I didn't do it, wasn't there. Okay, I was there, but it was somebody else. I was there, but it was self-defense. Okay, guy. Okay.
Yeah.
David says, he's like, okay, but can I tell my wife? I really want to tell my wife. And they're like, absolutely sure.
Yeah, because
we would love to record this.
And
because now we want to see how her reaction is.
and I remember this from the episode because it was like, because now you're owning up to having shot him. So you knew he was in there. And like, what kind of person takes their wife and their child
Yeah.
into a house with where
Child,
you know a dead
13-year-old.
body is? That
Awful.
it is so gross.
It's disgusting. So David, of course, says he wants to tell his wife. They're recording it the whole time. They leave them to discuss, and Sherry clearly knows nothing about it. Not only, again, had he been having an affair, like you said, with a person they considered fucking family. This is Uncle Brad. This is their best friend. This is like the third, person. It's, this is a deep relationship they've all had with this person. He shot him. And then, of course, like you said, willingly just brings their fucking his wife and daughter to a crime scene to find this dead body.
I must have maybe seen the Dateline then. I know I listened to the case file because now I remember exactly. I was listening to it going back to the wedding venue the next day to go pick up like our stuff or whatever is when I heard this story.
Post-marriage activity listening to the case file.
I did see the Dateline too, where they showed the recording of them in the police interrogation room or whatever. And
With her?
Yes.
she does dress him the fuck down about her kid
Good.
being there.
Yes.
Yeah.
13 too. It's like that's a 13-year-old having to experience something like that with someone that the amount of trauma, if you break it down in layers, it's like not only did you have to have that experience where you were in a place where somebody had been killed, but the person who had been killed is somebody who you care about and you love. And then you have to find out that your dad killed that person. And then you have to find out that your dad killed that person and willingly took you there. Like the amount of therapy
That's a lot
that you need after that.
It's absolutely bonkers. But February of 2018, David is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. So he will be spending his rest of his life in a correctional institution in Ohio.
Wild to me in these stories, and we've told many of them now. And it is wild to me when people kill someone to try and cover up an affair. I mean, this is like the second story in a row. And it's just like, do you not understand? Like, now, not only is your partner going to find out because you're not fucking smart enough to get away with this. You have like texts on texts. Yeah. There's so much like proof. You don't think the cops are going to go through your phones and find all that stuff and figure that stuff out. So like, not only does she now find out, but now you're going to jail for going to prison for the rest of your life for murder because you weren't smart enough to try and get away with that sort of thing. So it's just like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. How is any of that easier than just having the conversation that And
I'm not saying that conversation, I'm sure it would be really difficult.
Really
it would be really
awful.
painful. It would be really scary. All of that is true, but less scary than killing somebody.
Yeah. And then going to fucking jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Just, it is.
And still losing everything that you had anyway.
Right.
So what's the fucking point?
It's just, there's got to be something not firing right.
Or it's just a lack of ability, I think, to think through long-term consequences of your actions. Just being so like in the moment, needing to not really thinking through long-term.
Yeah. So awful.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I mean, I know we're transitioning into what we're watching. I watched all 4 episodes of Worst Ex Ever.
Oh, whoa.
On Netflix.
Is that going to be your Tainted Love next week?
Oh my God.
They were 4 of the most bananas stories. And we have been doing Tainted Loves now for years. Yeah. But what these people had to go through with their exes, Oh my God.
Are you going to tell one of these or should I watch the show?
No, watch the show.
Okay.
I can't do it justice. It is done so well. It's by the same people that did Worst Roommate Ever.
Oh my God.
I was just gonna ask
And that show,
'cause
too.
I was like,
Wow.
I totally watched that. That is nuts.
I'm like, where did they get these stories? Because what these people had to survive, specifically Cassie, episode 2 for you is your literal nightmare.
Oh, I'm scared.
Oh,
I'm scared.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
It's called Worst Ex Ever.
Worst Ex Ever, and it's on Netflix.
Okay.
I would highly recommend it. It is terrifying. I feel like it does kind of the same thing that our Tainted Love does, where it's just like it's telling these stories or going through these stories, and you're just picking up tidbits like, oh, okay, like if this happened to me, then I would do that, or this. You know what I mean? Where it's one of those things where you're just kind of learning new fears that you didn't know that you had.
Great.
I need more.
Unlocked.
I need more of those.
Unlocked.
I was, running low
Great.
on fears and anxieties.
Yeah. Yeah. So get your fresh stock of new anxieties
Oh,
to have.
fuck,
And
dude.
Yeah. But it
Great.
is a good show.
Scared.
Okay.
Also on Netflix, I watched The Murder of Aaron McNair.
Oh yeah. Cass, you told that story back in the day, didn't you?
I wondered because I was like, oh, that sounds kind of familiar. It was
It sounds familiar.
Steve McNair.
Steve McNair, he was a quarterback
football-
for
Yes.
the Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did
Yep.
watch that. And it is, I think Christina has said it before, and I feel similarly where like, I don't care about sports unless it's like maybe some things at the Olympics. Like I don't care about sports, but a sports documentary or a sports movie that's well done, I can
I'm in it.
Yeah.
I kind of can get into it. And these, it's part of the like Untolds. I think maybe the Aaron Hernandez one was also that.
Oh, that Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, yeah.
one was-
Horrible. But it intersplices
I never watched it.
like
I should.
sports documentary stuff with the murder. It like goes back and forth to like between like his ride and like what the Tennessee Titans were doing and what they meant to Memphis at the time, and and then also telling the story of his murder. And that one is one that is like I said, I think Cassie did cover it, but there's a question mark involved in that case that everybody just seems to be like, oh well, we don't need to look into that any further. We'll just keep it.
Case closed.
Bye-bye.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oof.
There's if I remember right, didn't he play for Nashville?
Or was it Nashville? Sorry. Did I say
okay,
Memphis?
I was like, wait
My
a
bad.
second, because he was with another girl too. That was like part of the scandal, right?
Yes, yeah, and it was because they were both found at the same time, and it was the Tennessee Titans, wherever that.
There is a
out
big
of.
question mark that no one's talking about,
Yeah.
and it seems like they've just like.
No, it's just
'Cause they
I
were
think
both shot.
I think they even said in the documentary, they're like, so we brought up this other thing, and they were like, no, leave it alone. You're like, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, because they still don't really know who shot him,
Well,
right?
the
Isn't that-
official case is not really a spoiler if you listen to the show because we would have talked about it. But the official conclusion that they came to is that it was a murder suicide and that she killed him and then killed herself.
But then
there's a question mark
the way
because
that the bullet. There's
well,
a
there's
huge
another
question
there's
mark,
another
right?
person, the person who owned the gun. Like, and so he says that he gave it to her, but they also had an intimate relationship. The person who owned the gun and the woman. So then they're like, well, he had motive too, and it was his gun, and he had been convicted of murder in the past. So it's like,
and the way that they said they found the gun, that was like there was like blood, like the way that it was like. There was the gun and like there was blood under it or over it or something
remember,
that they were like, that wouldn't have happened if she had shot herself. Yeah. It was very bizarre. Yeah. Interesting. What have I watched? Oh, so I'm taking my final semester of college finally.
yay.
And I know. I'm in my archaeology class right now. And so for one of my archaeology assignments, they had to you have to watch like a show, like a TV or like a movie based, like where like the main character is an archaeologist or something. And like, how do they portray archaeology in this movie? And how it would be more realistic or how is it not realistic?
That's a fun assignment.
So I watched It is kind of, it was fun. I watched Indiana Jones, the newest one, Dial of Destiny.
Oh, Lord.
And honestly,
Did you like it?
honestly, I did like it. The Kingdom, or the Skull, the one before it, fucking awful. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And so I was hesitant. I was like, this questionable. This is like, this could go both ways. But they really captured the essence of what made the original movies so fun. Action, the adventure, all those things that made it without the kind of
Shia LaBeouf of it all.
Yeah, they traded out Shia LaBeouf for Phoebe Waller-Bridge. So,
Yeah, so much better.
Much better.
I will say this as somebody who was watching it with an eye of trying to capture the intellect of archaeology behind it. It's so funny. It's like archaeology in itself, like what the finds are, all the history, the things that you can really gain from a true find or dig or whatever is so incredible. You don't have to make it magical on top of it. Like the funny part of the story is that Archimedes' dial, the acolyte, I'm totally going to fuck that up. It's a Greek word. Anyway, it's a real thing and it did really cool stuff, but they have to make like this whole, it can turn back time. It really was just about like navigating astrology, and it was so incredible for its time. And, some of the stuff that they talk about in the movie is very real, but like they just are... It's so silly. It's so silly to like, you're like, let's make it magical. Not necessary.
All right. Well,
anyway,
hey, if you guys have something that we should watch, if you have a terrible date story, if you just want to reach out and say hello, or if you're Timeleft and you want to sponsor us,
I'm gonna send them an email. Honestly,
go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's My Worst Date Podcast.
What? Pardon me?
Wait,
I choked
We've
a little.
done this how many years?
I know. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much. Cheers.